When she said I don't dance now, I make money moves, that was a mission statement for a whole new generation.
Respect, but that's not the Mount Rushmore. Listen, cash rules everything around me. When that line dropped, it changed the whole hustle. The greatest tracks are never finished. They're just debated forever. Introducing the Sprite Living Track List. 50 tracks that shape the culture from 6 decades of hip-hop. Scan the QR code on a Sprite or Sprite Zero Sugar to see the full breakdown. Obey your thirst. Sprite.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
This is Sunbelt Commissioner Keith Gill, and I listen to the Funbelt Podcast.
This is the Funbelt Podcast, part of the Believe Network.
Hosts the Dusty Thibodeau of Warhawk Report, Jeremy Harper of Howlraiser, and Shane Metlin of the Daily News Record.
I think it's potentially a very good week for the Sunbelt.
But I'm just kind of going off on a random rant. It's just frustrating.
Welcome back, Funbelt Podcast. You know what's funny at Tibbs is that the show starts off. It starts off. You hear me laughing, and you hear Dusty Thibodeau saying something profound. But at one point, Shane Metlin says, "This could be a good week for the Sunbelt." But let me tell you something. Like, it's always a good week for the Sunbelt. And it's beginning to start. Football is here. Everything that we wanted is happening. We've got the quarterback controversies. We got new coaches coming in. We got new players coming in. We've got new coaches who are actually old coaches coming in. We all wonder if James Madison and Troy are going to repeat as divisional favorites. I'm pumped up. Tibbs, join me in being pumped up.
I'm here to pump you up.
Shane, at least you're pumped up, right? You got the mic in your face. You're ready to go, right?
Yeah, I'm going old school here with the holding the mic up to my mouth just because I had a little technical difficulty. For some reason, this mic is quiet all of a sudden, so I've got to get it up here close. I can't just look like a normal person, so I have that. But I'm still excited. This is not tampering my enthusiasm at all to have to do it this way.
All right, well, let me ask you this, and I'll ask Tibbs the same question. Have either one of you put out your predictions for the Sun Belt this year?
Not for the Sun Belt, not for ULM, not yet at least.
Okay, you haven't done that. Okay, how about you, Shane?
Not really, not like any printing of my own. I voted in a couple polls, I guess, but like no predictions that are really attached to my name out there.
So none of you have put together an official prediction.
It's in the can. It's being worked.
Shane?
Yeah, like I said, no, I haven't put an official one out there.
Okay, so do we want to go ahead? Listen, I've put myself on the limb. I've produced and published my predictions. Do you guys want to laugh at my predictions?
Of course.
Okay. Shane or Tibbs, are you up for this? Yeah, okay. All right. Listen, you can rest assured that nothing but science and the latest techniques, like the latest AI, created this list. So you know it's going to be good.
D&D guy, and you roll the dice, the 20-sided dice.
I'm going to start with the East first because I know the least about the East. I really want Shane's opinion on this.
What specifically about the East?
How it's going to shake out from top to bottom.
I like 3 teams, I think, more than the rest. I think the winner is going to come from the Virginias. I think it's JMU, ODU, or Marshall is going to produce the winner of the East.
Well, you're going to be shocked by my predictions. Okay, I'm going to start with number 7. And tell me if you think this is shocking. Are you ready, Shane?
Yes, I'm ready.
Coastal Carolina comes in last.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked.
Okay.
Not that anything will shock me once we actually have results, but Isn't everybody picking Georgia State to finish last in the East? So I just, a little surprised.
I'm picking Coastal Carolina last because as much as I like, I think Mike Beard, the new coach for Coastal Carolina, he's a young guy, but I think he needs the grace period, right? He's got to get his guys in, has to get his system in, got to get his shit together. So I give Coastal Carolina that grace period. I feel like Georgia State comes in 6th. And the reason why I think that is Del McGee has had 3 years there. This is his year. This is his time to shine. If it doesn't happen this year, it's not going to happen at all. Don't you agree, Thibodeau?
Yeah, it's definitely put up or shut up time for Helton to get going. It is Ryan Beard, by the way, at Coastal Carolina.
Did I say Mike Beard? I said Mike Beard, didn't I? See, he's so new. I don't even know his name. We met him. He seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah, and I think that he'll do okay. Maybe not this year, because I think even if Beck was back for another year, there was a lot of question marks, a lot of rebuilding that had to happen with this league, or with this team rather, in the league. And so I think it's going to be a question mark, but I do feel that he is the right guy long-term for that position.
So does Coastal Carolina finish 7th, 6th, or somewhere even higher?
No, they're a bottom dweller this season.
Well, let's amp up the intrigue. I got Georgia Southern at number 5. And I think it's because, once again, new quarterback coming in. I don't know if they have all the pieces together. Helton's been there for a while. It seems like Clay Helton should already have this ship righted, but the Sun Belt East is just so tough. Did I put Georgia Southern in the right place?
I'm not going to argue with it too much. I mean, like I told you who my top 3 were. I think we pretty much established who the bottom 2 are, and I feel like you can kind of flip Georgia Southern or App State, flip a coin for which one's going to be in which spot. But I mean, it's time for Clay Helton. I don't think we're having the hot seat discussion about coaches right now, but at some point Georgia Southern's got to be better than average, which is just kind of what they've been recently. I think they have a chance to do it this year. Like, if they get good quarterback play, who knows? But they've absolutely got a veteran at quarterback. But nothing like just really inspires me to say like, oh yeah, they've really got to be near the top.
That's a good point. Does Georgia Southern, Thibodeau, whose seat is hotter, Del McGee's or Clay Helton's?
On the surface, I think you're going to see Del McGee as the hot seat because he's done nothing there at Georgia State. Yes, he had the big win over Vanderbilt, but that's about the extent of what he's done. However, I don't feel that that's a fair shake, knowing that he kind of inherited a team that was in absolute turmoil when he took over because of the late departure of Sean Elliott. Helton, he's had a bunch of injuries, but then what team in the Sun Belt hasn't had that kind of face that you just got to kind of grind through it and not use it as an excuse and be successful. I mean, I think that the lack of success really even pushed Danny Reed out of Eagle Creek.
Yeah, I think expectations are always high at Georgia Southern, and I wouldn't be surprised if Clay Helton's seat's a little bit hotter than Del McGee's. I don't know why I feel that way. For some reason, I feel like everybody at Georgia State just seems okay with Del. I don't know if Georgia Southern can continue not winning or at least not competing closely in the Sun Belt East and continue having that job.
I think
Shane,
going to be.
Go ahead.
I just think there's more people who care at Georgia Southern to get riled up about it if Georgia Southern's not good this year. And
wow. Yeah, I was going to say that's actually some pretty good insight there. There are more people to care in Georgia Southernville than at Georgia State, which is too bad. But yeah, that's how it is right now. Shane, I don't know if you're going to like my number 4. I don't think you're going to agree with it.
Okay. Hit me with it.
I got James Madison at 4th.
I'm not going to argue too hard because, I mean, so much turnover.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you get, if you're JMU, you get the benefit of the doubt for successfully getting through one coaching transition here recently. Seems like whoever they put at quarterback ends up being conference player of the year. Like, so you get a little bit of the doubt there, but it's question marks. We have no idea who's going to start at quarterback. I mean, Billy Napier is saying all the right things. He's talking like a guy who won Sun Belt championships at Louisiana, but he's also coming off getting fired in the middle of the season. Like, you know, there are question marks. I think JMU will be good. I don't know if they will be great. And, you know, good in the Sun Belt could mean dropping a game or two that quickly pushes you down the standings. There's not always a huge difference between 2nd and 4th. So I think they will finish higher, but like I don't think it's crazy to have them middle of the pack.
So somebody online, when I posted this story and said that James Madison was coming in 4th, somebody from James Madison said, "You're going to be sorry for making that prediction." And I agreed with him. I said, buddy, every time I doubt James Madison, I pay the price. You know, I doubted him with Signetti. I doubted them with Bob Chesney. And now here it is with Billy Napier. But here's the one thing that gives me pause. Yes, there is a lot of turnover, although Bob Chesney had a lot of turnover. But there's also this, is that Signetti and Chesney were kind of cut from the same cloth. You know, both guys that kind of had this FCS background, that their background was just about winning. Finding guys that weren't necessarily the quickest guys or the biggest guys, but guys that won, winners. That was their, you know, MO. That was their bread and butter. Now you got Billy Napier, who just spent, 3 years just handing out bags of cash and hoping that the recruits would pay off. It didn't. Now he comes in the Sun Belt where you really have to work. You really have to coach. I don't know. Even though he did that with the Cajuns, I don't know if he's ready for that again. So I'm giving JMU the benefit of the doubt. Dusty, am I completely insane?
Always. But I think James Madison's a lot better than what you're giving them credit for.
Possibly.
I think that they do have a lot of the talent coming in, and we saw where Napier took over a struggling Cajun team and turned them into kind of that powerhouse on those 3-year runs, 4-year runs that he had in Lafayette. So I think that he can do it, especially in this day and age where you can flip the roster so quickly, and he has the money, the resources, and everything in between for the Dukes to get it going quickly.
Yeah, I could absolutely be paying for this pick. But if it comes out in this way, I will be a genius.
And this may be a separate conversation we got to have about everybody in the Sun Belt at this point. But I will just say, it sounds like there's a distinct possibility Trent Hendrick, maybe one of those 5-5 guys now with the court rulings, that ends up back at JMU. And not that one player necessarily makes that much of a difference, but I think if you bring back a Sun Belt player of the year on the defensive side of the ball, which hasn't happened a lot in this conference the last few years, it suddenly maybe legitimizes the expectations a little bit more just to have a guy like that you weren't expecting. And like I said, maybe we need to have that conversation about every team about who might end up here because playing this year because of the courts. But that's definitely something to watch, I think, for JMU. I think maybe that pushes them to being the actual favorite if Hendrick gets on the field.
Absolutely. All right, so a team that I think is going to make a huge leap this year, and I say this based off the recruiting that's been done, but also how many just very narrow, I'm talking 1 point, 2 point, 3 point losses this team endured, didn't quite live up to the standard that the fan base wants that team to live up to. I think Appalachian State makes a big jump this year. I think they come in 3rd in the league. I think that Dow Loggins has something special going on in Boone, at least recruiting wise. He has to prove he can coach too. But I'm really like, after talking with him, he admitted that he had, there was a learning curve as being a head coach. He felt like he had accepted those lessons during the season. He made some changes in the off season. I really like where Appalachian State is right now, Tibbs.
How could you not love D'Lo? I mean, he'll sell you the popsicle with the white gloves on and everything else. But I do feel that he learned a lot last year.
Yes.
At the helm of the Mountaineers, and that's going to carry over to this year to where he now knows how to play in the Sun Belt, because you have to remember he is a NFL guy. So it was a big transition for him to come back down to the college ranks and get that head coaching job. I think he makes the adjustments, and I could definitely see where they are a top 3 team in the East.
Also, you would say, okay, Jeremy, that seems like not a far-fetched idea that maybe Appalachian State finishes in the top 3.
No doubt. I think that they get the good old corncob pipe smoking and sliding down the hills and everything else the students do there in Boone.
All right. Well, Shane, what do you think? I think I'm not sure what your stance on Appalachian State is. I think you probably have a better handle on it than I do. I'm curious to think what you think of them at 3rd.
I'm not sure I have a better handle on them than you do. I mean, I mentioned them when we talked about Georgia Southern because, like I said, there's two programs I think could be good, but I just don't know enough to maybe want to put them. I love Marshall's offense. I think they're going to give tons of trouble. I kind of like where ODU is. Even with the new quarterback, I like where ODU is, and kind of putting Jamie up there by default. So would it shock me if App State moves up there? They're in the top 2 or 3. No, but I just haven't seen enough from Lonigan yet to make me just have that much faith in him at this point. I may be the one saying sorry after the season, but that's just where I am with App State right now. Maybe that'll change.
Yeah, I don't blame you, though. I mean, we didn't really see a whole lot. You didn't get a lot of wins. I will say that a lot of those losses were very close, and some of that is just coaching, right? You're not ready for that moment. You're not ready for those last-second field goals or that last interception that comes up. So maybe a year more it gives Danger Zone Loggins a edge up on this. That's why we play the season. That's why we figure it out. Now, you were talking about Marshall's offense. Man, that is 5 offensive players on the Sun Belt preseason first team, including the Offensive Player of the Year, Carlos Del Rio. Carlos Del Rio Wilson? Yes.
And he is he's not a fan of mine there, Jeremy.
No.
Throwing that out there.
To recap on that, Tibbs sort of had a early prognostication about where Marshall would end up, and it was unfairly, in my opinion, unfairly low. And Carlos took some umbrage, didn't he, Tibbs?
A little bit. He was not happy that I told him that I had picked them 5th in a hasty decision, and so now it's all on me.
Shane, you should have seen this exchange, because it was like Thibodeau just throws out there, I picked you guys 5th. And you could see this cloud of not fury, but maybe disappointment go over Carlos's face. And then after the interview, he said, dude, why would you pick us at 5th? Poor Thibodeau had to explain where he was coming from, and maybe he had picked too hastily. Everything had come at a rush for him. Probably Marshall wasn't going to finish 5th. Where would you revise that now? I pick him at 2nd. Tibbs, where would you pick him now?
I think now that I've looked at it, they're 1st or 2nd. I could see them just missing it and not representing the East like they did 2 years ago. But I do think that they are one of the better teams in the East.
So, Shane, you had said it earlier. I had said it just a second ago. We love the offense. The offense has so many weapons. We don't know much about the defense. Is the defense a legitimate concern? Because they did give up 30 points a game last year.
Yeah, and if they do that this year, yeah, maybe they will finish 4th or 5th. But I have to think that knowing how good their offense is going to be, that they probably had to put a lot of emphasis on improving the defense this offseason, whether it be people they picked up in the portal, whether it just be changing up some schemes and things like that. The defense doesn't have to be great, though. They're going to score 40 points a game. I really believe that. And, if the defense is just a little bit better and they get a few stops, I think they're going to win a lot of shootouts. I think they're going to give a lot of Sunbelt teams a lot of trouble. And so many unknowns across the whole conference. I'm buying into the one known thing we have, and that's that Marshall's offense is going to score a hell of a lot of points.
Well said. I like that. And Shane, you have to admit that kind of Tony Gibson and Dow Loggins, they're kind of in the same boat, right? They're second-year head coaches. They both had a lot to learn at the beginning and middle and end of the season. They took those lessons. So, I may be saying Marshall and Appalachian State are going to have good seasons this year, but that's a lot of pressure to put on second-year head coaches.
Yeah, you're right. They are in similar places. They both love where they're at, which I think is appreciated and good for the future of those programs. But yeah, like I said, we know Marshall's offense is great. We know their quarterback is really good, that he's got a lot of weapons. Like, when there's so many question marks everywhere else, I'm just going to go with what we know.
I think that's probably the smart way to go. So you guys probably did the math. And I've said 6 out of the 7 teams in the Sun Belt, leaving only one. And it's our good friend Ricky Ronnie, the guy who always gives us a good interview, Dusty. I really like this ODU team. They go 10-3 last year. I know they have Colton Joseph as their superstar quarterback. Listen, I've seen Quinn. I'm going to say Hinnkel. Could be Heinickel, but I think it's Hinnkel. I've seen this kid in action. And he can run, he can throw. He's a lot like Colton Joseph. He was the Cure Bowl MVP last year, taking over for Colton Joseph. I don't think the offense really has misses much losing Colton Joseph. I think Quinn Hinnkel is going to be a fantastic QB. I think the defense for ODU is going to be just as good as it ever is. It's a very good balanced team. I think ODU finally closes escrow and wins the East. Shane, how wrong am I?
Not wrong. I mean, they weren't my pick to win, but I've had them. Like I said, I've got 3 teams that I like a lot, and they're one of them. And I sometimes feel like I need to hesitate to put too much on one game. But I'm with you. When Hinnkel showed us enough in the Cure Bowl to have us not panicking that Colton Joseph went to Wisconsin. I really think ODU's starting to build. Ricky Ronnie's building a program there, and it took him a little longer because they took 2020 off with COVID. And I think that's an underrated aspect of why maybe it was a step-by-step process to get there for ODU to where they win 10 games last year. But yeah, I think we're almost forgetting that they won 10 games last year and bring enough back to have high expectations.
A couple of years ago, Dusty, I was having private conversations with you. I was thinking Ricky Ronnie might be the hot seat guy. I know Sunbelt didn't bring ODU in for football. They brought him in for baseball and basketball. I don't know that for sure. That's just my opinion. I always thought football for ODU was just like the cherry on top. Suddenly they've become a very strong football organization. Is this the year, Dusty, that Ricky Ronnie finally eats the cake?
I hope so, but I also feel like there's kind of a curse, right? That he hasn't been able to do it with some pretty damn good teams in the past. What's really the X factor that pushes them over the limit for this year? I don't know the answer to that. That's just my thoughts of I'll believe it when I see it, but it would not surprise me if he is able to get it done this year.
Yeah, and it's not just Ricky Ronnie and Quinn Hinnkel. They got Devin Roche at running back. They've got some weapons. I think we can all agree, though, Shane. I think you'll definitely agree that the East is just going to be very hard this year, and you're going to have to almost be damn near perfect to get through this.
I think so. And you see a lot of these, the FPI predictions and everything, like picking somebody to win the East with a 10-2 or 11-1 record. I'm not sure anybody's getting through there with that good of a record overall.
No.
Like, especially when you throw in some tough non-conference games. But, it may hurt the opportunity to get back to the college football playoff with this league. But I think it's going to be really fun and competitive.
Yes, fun and competitive. I'm looking forward to it. So let's switch over to the West. Here's the thing to me. The East seems like more of a bruising sort of division, while the West seems more of a gunslinging free-for-all. It seems like there's just about anybody, and I'm saying almost anybody but my number 7 pick. I think anyone has a chance to win this conference. Don't you think, Dusty? Just about anybody?
I just want to know who your number 7 is, because I already know who you're going to say. And remember,
right. I think you're going to be.
We were basking in the Rice Bowl last year.
My number 7 is the team that's going to have the fewest wins, but is going to have the most faith, family, and fun, and that's the Golden Eagles of Southern Miss. I think that they just have way too much turnover. Talking to Blake Anderson, he doesn't know anybody on the team practically. Everybody's gone. He's building a whole new system from the ground up at Southern Miss. He seems to relish the fact that he's in charge, meaning that we're going to see some trick plays and it's going to be fun. But I just don't think they have enough. They didn't have enough really last year. So I don't think that I think this is a big setback from them. I think this is going to be a couple years long project for Southern Miss to get back. Dusty, I'd like to hear your opinion on that.
The interview season has already happened, and I forget where I said this, but I really feel like Southern Miss is either the hero or the zero. Because we don't know anything about this team, they could be absolute hot garbage. They could be the best thing that's kept under wraps by Blake Anderson. I don't think that there's really much in between. They're either going to be really good or god-awful bad, and next season can't get here quick enough.
I will tell you one thing about Blake Anderson. He does his best work at the beginning of his tenure. So this could be the year for Blake Anderson's Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Shane, do you think that I'm just way off on this?
No, I don't. There's nothing that I know about Southern Miss that makes me think, I should pick them. But maybe that unknown is part of it. I'm thinking back to ULM 2 years ago where they kind of surprised us with getting off to a great start, and they've got at that point an awesome freshman running back that nobody would have known about coming in. They find some guys at the JUCO ranks. It's possible Southern Miss is doing the same thing now with a new coach, similar to what ULM did. But like I said, I just don't know anybody on that roster that's making me say okay, yeah, move them up.
Yeah, we don't know anything. And yet maybe you're right. Maybe that's the strength is we don't know who these guys are, and they might surprise. So that's what I mean about the Sun Belt West. Anybody can win this. I said that Southern Miss can't win it. I could be wrong about it. So who I got in 6, it's almost a reflexive move, Dusty. And I know Vegas doesn't like these guys. I know that the Sun Belt doesn't like these guys, but there is something about the Warhawks I like. I feel like this team under Bryant Vincent is no longer, it's like a serious team now, a team that is putting together its pieces, putting together its identity. I don't know if they're finding that identity yet. That's why I have them at 6, but I don't think they're as bad as people think, Dusty.
Yeah, I don't either. I've already started hammering the over for the win total of 3.5 that I've seen in Vegas. As we were talking about before we started. I just got back from Vegas. They had actually fallen to 2.5, and if I knew that I was going to be back to Vegas within the next year, I would have hammered that over out there with the paper ticket.
Yeah, I think that I think that the Warhawks or somebody, if I were a betting man, I'd probably put some money on them. It helps that they're one of the teams in the Sun Belt, one of the surprisingly many teams, in my opinion, that's returning a quarterback with experience, and that's Aiden Armenta. Has he been certified as the starter yet?
No, it's still an open battle with him, Austin Carlisle, and even Ty Purdy, a transfer from Iowa Central, I think by way maybe of Purdue or something like that. It's still kind of an open race. I do think, though, that the offensive line has looked a lot better. The running backs are solid and deep. You have the potential of some fifth-year guys still coming back. They're kind of playing that a little conservative to see how that shakes out. If there's more legal jockeying, positioning, however you want to phrase it on that. But then this defense with defensive coordinator Troy Reffitt back at the helm, the organized chaos of 3-3-5 is back, and he has the personnel already in place to make sure that it's running.
All right. Well, you know what? The Warhawks never really known for defense. It would be cool if ULM suddenly became a citadel for defense. Shane, how do you like the Warhawks this year? I know it's always like, well, the Warhawks are going to be at the bottom, but they really seem to have improved with Brian Vincent.
Yeah, I'm going to trust Tibbs' opinion because he's the one who really knows this team.
He's there.
I like things that I see out there, and I'm not just talking football. Like SJ Tui, there's new sponsorships, new revenue streams getting posted about like all the time. Like I think ULM is on the right track. Brian Vincent doesn't have to play AD this year. My one question is though, does this almost make it like year one for them at this point with the AD, with Vincent not having to pull double duty? I think they'll be improved, but I do wonder if we are maybe, is this the year we start to judge like the progress over the next couple years for this program because things are in place there now?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And you're right about Tui. Tibbs, they printed such a goofy picture of Tui that I just started laughing when I saw it. But he's doing some good stuff out there.
We have possibly the longest stadium name now in all of NCAA.
Please spell it out.
It is no longer the Malone, or with the M burning out, the Alone Stadium. Instead, it is the FMOL Health, a pipe, St. Francis Medical Center Stadium.
Well, you got to do what you got to do. And it seems like Tui is doing that. Okay, so for my... go ahead.
I was going to say, ironically, the fans have already started naming it that if the season goes south, instead of FMOL, the stadium will be affectionately known as the FML Stadium.
Fair enough. So I think Tibbs is going to say yes to this placement of this next team, simply because they break his heart every year. And if they do better than this position, he'll feel good about it. If they don't, he'll be like, well, that's what we've come to expect from these guys. And that's number 5. I got South Alabama. And I know Bishop Davenport is coming back to the Jags this year, and that's a big deal. I think Bishop Davenport's a really good quarterback. He had some great numbers last year. It was comparable in a lot of ways to Carlos Del Rio Wilson's numbers. But if you talk to Coach Applewhite, they just had a lot of injuries at the beginning of the season. They had some transfers that happened at the beginning of the season that really made them mad, Tibbs. And I just don't know. I just don't feel that the Jags right now have a comfortable identity. I just don't feel like they even know who they are yet. Do you feel that way, Tibbs? Am I just imagining that?
Yeah, I mean, when the interview with Applewhite went off the rails and he started just going ballistic about the state of college football, he didn't want to talk about his team. He wanted to talk about things that I think were hitting near and dear to his heart. And that's guys bailing at last minute, guys wanting to leave and not be a part of his program anymore. I think that we have a great quarterback, and we know that. Beyond that, I think it's all question marks where, much like Southern Miss, they could be great. They could be garbage. And only time will tell which side of the coin they're on.
Yeah, Shane. We did this interview with Major Applewhite, and it was the end of the day. We have to give him that. He'd been answering questions all day, and he didn't want to talk about his team. We kept trying to steer him to that, and he would just go back to, the unfairness of the system and how people are getting screwed and how the Jags have gotten screwed. And I don't know if that's the right mindset. Shane, would you disagree or agree with that?
Yeah, I don't know, unless like Tibbs kind of hinted at maybe it was calculated to like turn the conversation somewhere other than answering questions about his team. Maybe he didn't know the answers to at that point or something. I don't know. Tibbs mentions that, I immediately start thinking of like Coach K in basketball, and John Shire's doing a good job of it now too. But if Duke loses a game, something's getting brought up at that post-game press conference that makes you talk about anything but the game.
So this could be his way of saying, this team is not in any position. Let's talk about some big picture issues.
Yeah.
I can see that. I want Major Applewhite to succeed. I hope he does. I like Bishop Davenport as a quarterback. I think he could do really well. I just wish that Major had spoken more about his quarterback and less about, having trouble recruiting or whatever he was talking about, Tibbs.
It got weird.
It did. It got weird. All right, so in the Sun Belt East, I predicted James Madison would finish fourth, which is probably not a conventional pick. I am just as unconventional here with the Sun Belt West, and partly it's because I think any of these top four teams could win it easily. Like any one of them can get on a hot streak and come out with the Sun Belt West championship. For me, Troy is once again number 4, and I'll tell you why. I feel a lot of Troy's wins last year, there were just a lot of good things that just happened to happen for Troy. Troy did not have a good rushing year. Troy did not have the same defensive abilities as they had in years past. Troy was not, by the metrics, a good team, but they somehow managed to win at the right time. Now they get back Goose Crowder, and quite frankly, I don't know if that is a plus or a negative. I can't figure it out. Tibbs, am I just being like a Troy hater right now?
You are. I mean, the Goose is loose. And here's why I also say that. Even if it's not Goose, they have Tucker Gilcrease back from last year, who was just as good and filled in during Goose's many injuries. So I feel like you focus too much on the quarterback race at Troy, knowing that I don't think that there is a controversy. I think they're fine with either one in the game. I think the bigger focus should be what's that surrounding cast around him really look like.
Wow, that could be it. And just to clear things up, I don't think there's a controversy between Gilcrease and Goose Crowder. I'm not sure if either one is the man. I think that's what I'm saying. I don't know if either one of those guys are capable of leading the team. I felt like Gilcrease had his moments and then fell apart. And then Goose Crowder, who knows if he's going to stay healthy. Shane, am I a big hater?
Yeah. I'm with you on the top 4 teams you have. I would not have Troy fourth, though. I mean, you know who is the man, even if they don't have one at quarterback? It's Donnie Smith on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, everybody likes Donnie Smith.
Back. They're going to be good on both sides of the ball. They've got stars. And, neither Gilcrease nor Goose Crowder, I think, necessarily scares you that they're going to put up 500 yards through the air in any given day or just go out and take over a game. But, yeah, they're good enough. They've both proven they're good enough to get Troy to the conference championship game. I'm not worried about their quarterback situation at all.
All right. Okay. Well, this could be an opportunity where you guys can really make fun of me throughout the year as Troy is just dominating the Sun Belt West.
Wait, that's the only time we get to?
No, that is the only time. I don't know. That's second and short. All right. So if it's not going to be Troy, then the guys I have in third is a team that I think finally settled on their quarterback. I think that quarterback's pretty good. It's a team that lost a lot of offensive linemen at the beginning of the year, and now they've got it back. It's a team that is led by a seasoned head coach, Mike Desimo. And I'm talking about the Cajuns at number 3. Cajuns at number 3, Shane, is that the right place for them?
I'm not arguing against it. I had them 4 when I picked it earlier in the summer. But, I think maybe I'll have to fault my own logic there when I give Marshall so much credit for having Carlos Del Rio Wilson back at quarterback. I like Lunch Winfield a lot too. I think maybe I should give the Cajuns a little more credit for what they have coming back at quarterback and like I said, go with what's known. But I also had a little bit hard time just picking them in front of some of those other teams that we're going to talk about here, and Troy. So I think they're there. I think they're going to be a challenger. Just had a little bit trouble picking them too much higher than that. But, I'm not going to argue with you putting them third.
Yeah, I know why you're having trouble picking them at third or higher than that. It's because the Cajuns were just so lousy last year. I mean, let's face it, the Cajuns coming in as I guess it was conference champions. They blow it against Rice. They don't even score more than 12 points against Rice. They've got the stadium to fight for with the new improvements there. A lot of excitement around there, and they just laid an egg. Dusty, did I put these guys too high?
Without a doubt. I love the legendary Desimo. I think Lunch Winfield is a good quarterback. I just don't know what else they have, though, to write home about. As you talked about, they seemingly had an offensive lineman falling every week for every week of the season, and it still came down to a overtime win against ULM to close out the season for them to be bowl eligible and to keep that streak alive. If it was kind of a squeaker last year, I think it's going to be even louder of a squeaker this year of them trying to keep that streak alive, especially with also the turmoil off the field. They're looking for a new athletic director and really going through the ringer right now financially with big deficits and a potential state bailout happening for them.
Yeah, so you've got me thinking I should have put the Cajuns at 4th. Troy at 3rd, but I'm going to stick with it. I trust Mike Desimo. I almost called him DeJormo. We're not supposed to do that, but Mike D. I have some trust in him. I trust him more this season than I've trusted him in any other season. I just feel like he's very comfortable where he is. I feel like he's very confident. I'm going to stick with them at number 3. At number 2. I'm putting these guys in because there's a little unknownness about them, like known unknownness. Like we know what these guys, this organization is capable of on the gridiron. We've seen it happen before. They can be really good. And in the last few years, their head coach, Sonny Cumbie, has really taken a team that really fell off the cliff and got them to 8 wins last year. And I'm thinking maybe just by pure adrenaline this season, being in the new conference, wanting to prove themselves, I think Louisiana Tech has a pretty good year and that they come in second in the division. Dusty, I would love to know what you think about that.
You're just trying to goat me into giving every school in the West bulletin board material.
Do it.
They have so many questions. They don't even have a named quarterback. Their quarterback was hurt for the bowl. Sure, the standby came in and won the bowl game for them. They have a great tight end there of Eli Finley that is doing some big things. But this team has a lot of questions on the defensive side of the ball. They may be able to literally outscore opponents, but they're not going to be able to stop somebody that doesn't even put an offense out on the field. I don't know what you're thinking, Jeremy. And it's frustrating to hear you do this and then also know that you have your homer take of Arkansas State being the top team in the West.
We'll get to that in a second, but I will say that they have Blake Baker, the quarterback, coming back from them. He was injured last year. He's coming back. He can throw the ball. We talked to him at the Sun Belt Media Day. He seemed like a good young man. I think Blake Baker could be all right.
No, we didn't.
Did we not talk to Blake?
No.
I felt like we did. Huh. Maybe I was drinking.
Yes, you were.
But Blake Baker does come back. I'm pretty sure about that, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So, all right. I think they get quarterback. I don't know who we talked to. Shane, am I way off base? Is Tibbs just Tibbs just being a hater to Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm not totally on board with Tibbs this time around. Like, I think his vision on the Bulldogs might be clouded just a little bit by the hatred and their rivalry. They're like, and I'm saying this as somebody who probably couldn't name more than a handful of players on their roster, but like, I do like Blake Baker, like you do a little bit. Like, we'll experience a quarterback coming off that injury. If he's healthy, then I think they could be pretty good. Like I said, I don't know the specific players, but I do know one specific stat that, other than the team we're about to talk about, nobody in the Sun Belt's got more snaps at this level coming back than Louisiana Tech, which I think is worth something when we're making these picks.
Absolutely. And Blake Baker is such an experienced quarterback. I thought we already talked to him, Tibbs, but I guess we didn't.
I mean, you might have. I mean, you were drinking absinthe. There's no telling who you talked to.
Yes, I was riding with the Green Fairy. That is absolutely true. Anyway, okay, so there's a lot of division about Louisiana Tech, and maybe some division about my final. And honestly, this pick is almost like a pick of who's the last man standing. And for me, it's going to be Arkansas State because they bring back so many snaps. Maybe not as much as teams used to back in the day when they could count on not having the transfer portal take away their stars. But they got a lot of guys coming back on offense, including that offensive line. A lot of people are talking about the quarterback situation. Quite frankly, they've got 4 quarterbacks that look pretty good in the offseason. I'm not really worried about the quarterback situation. I am worried about the defensive situation. Griff McCarley and his squad came out to a really slow start last year, came out with one of the stronger units for the team by the end of the year. If he can find a way to start off fast instead of starting off slow, I think Arkansas State has a good chance of winning. I'm going to go straight to Shane on this before I have Tibbs eviscerate my pick. Shane, what do you think of this pick?
Well, I mean, Troy is my pick to win it, so I disagree with you on that level. But Arkansas State, like you said, I just quoted that stat about Louisiana Tech bringing people back. The only team that is bringing back more playing time, more snaps, is Arkansas State. If one of them was Jalen Rayner, I think they might be a no-brainer to pick it. It's not, until I see what they have at quarterback, I'm not going to put them right up there, but they were my number 2.
That is fair enough. If you don't have a quarterback, you really don't know what the team is going to be. I will say about Jalen Rayner that as much as I love Jalen Rayner, he kind of hit a ceiling at Arkansas State. I think partly that was Arkansas State's fault. I hope he does well at Iowa State. I hope he breaks all the records there. Dusty, what do you think of this pick?
It's homerish. I expect nothing less from me.
Tell me how you really feel.
I have even no analysis on it. It's a straight homer pick, and I hope you fall flat on your face there, Jeremy.
Wow. Okay. So who do you have at 1? Troy?
Hail to the king until they're not the king anymore. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll see. Okay, there we have it.
Would you like to pick Texas State as well?
No. Should we pick where Texas State's going to finish in the Pac-12?
I don't really.
There she goes, first solo drive.
Are we ready for this? Absolutely. Our AAA agent, what are you doing here? Well, same as always, helping you protect what matters most. Like when you added her to your auto policy, or when you switched to AAA insurance and saved.
So you've been here the whole time?
Yep, plus we're available 24/7 for claim support, in case you ever need it.
Shouldn't she be home already?
It's been 12 seconds.
Visit AAA.com/insurance to get a quote today.
Care.
I don't really care about the Pac-12 at all, but I will be sort of through the side of my eye watching what they do. So I have to admit that. Guys, can any one of you name all the returning quarterbacks coming this season?
For the West, the East?
For all the Sun Belt.
Like returning as in on the roster, or returning as in the start?
Who have had starting experience at the position.
So you got Lunch, Winfield.
Yep.
Aiden Armenta. Goose.
Yep. Yes.
Kilcrease, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, I'm not counting Kilcrease. I'm only counting Crowder for Troy. But go on.
Hinkle.
Rio Wilson.
Yeah, Hinkle. Rio de Wilson, yes.
Do we count J.C. Evans at JMU, who won a bowl game MVP 2 years ago, but has thrown like 3 passes in his career?
You know what? Strict rules of golf. I don't think so. I don't think we're going to do that. We could, though. Any else? Any others?
No, I think that's all we got coming back.
Did anybody mention Bishop Davenport?
No, the Forgotten Warrior.
Who?
The Forgotten Warrior, Bishop Davenport.
I thought you said Hoyer. Yes. And Blake Baker, who we talked about at length. But we also forgot to talk about Cameron Brown of Georgia State.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's coming back. So that's 8 quarterbacks kind of coming back. I thought that was pretty good, guys. You know, I felt like last year it was like 3 quarterbacks were coming back. I felt like I was digging into the archives trying to figure out who is going to be the quarterbacks. But this year, I feel like there's some familiar faces.
Obviously, since we were able to name them all.
Shay, tell me about this year 5 rule that's coming up. Why are we still holding our breaths?
Because the ruling from the NCAA was that going forward, you're going to be able to play 5 years, play 5 seasons in 5 years. No red shirts, nothing else. Very, very few waivers. Maybe if you're like a Mormon on a mission or something like that. But, basically, yeah, you enroll in school after you get out of high school, you can play for the next 5 years. The question mark with that was that it starts for these kids entering now. The ones that graduated from the 2022 high school class are basically the only ones not getting a 5th year because all the COVID people ahead of them. Yeah. So they all went and sued, right? Like as everybody wants to do now. That's kind of like opened up basically like judges saying, yeah, all of these guys are eligible. And the NCAA can't punish you if you play them. So like at JMU, there was Trent Hendrick who worked out for some pro teams, didn't catch on anywhere. He was around JMU in the spring because he was working out, trying to like get ready for pro days and stuff like that. Seems like there's a decent chance he may like play for JMU this year. It's not set in stone at this point, but there's some guys like that around the country. I don't know if any on your teams or anywhere else in the Sun Belt we might see impact players do that. You kind of have to be in just the right situation where you haven't moved on. You're not in the NFL or anywhere right now because JMU's got some guys like that are on. They're playing preseason in the NFL right now, and they're not coming back. But we may see a handful of players that just, hey, I thought that guy was done, but now he's back on the roster.
Yeah, I gotta find out what the I don't know what's the parameters for that and see who could be eligible. Dusty, you got any guys at ULM that could be eligible?
Got several. Got Zach Palmer-Smith at the running back position, Billy Pullen at the defensive end, linebacker, tweener, Cavante Wells also at the defensive line position. You could see the great Elijah Fisher back.
Yeah.
Although,
basically anybody
to
who
quote
played
him,
4 seasons over the last 4 years, might be a possibility.
To quote Fisher, though, the fish is tired. The fish is moving on.
That could apply to us. I think with that, Dusty, it might be time for plugs, promos, and parting shots.
Sounds great.
All right. So how about we start with Shane, since he was the last one to the house,
and he's going to whisper it.
I haven't. You're going to give me shit, but I haven't done just a straight plug for a while. And
all right, no, I'm not gonna. Why would Dusty and I give you shit for making it?
Just kind of need to wrap this show up, so I'm just going to do a straight plug when look at dnronline.com/sports and read all about JMU football as the season rapidly approaches here.
All right, that's. I feel like that was solid. Dusty, do you have a humdinger, or should I go?
I got a good one.
Okay. All right. Why you want to save that for last?
Oh, okay. I'll go last.
Mine's not a humdinger. I was just going to say I watched a couple good movies over the last couple weeks. I checked out that Odysseus movie. If you were scared that was going to be too woke, you guys can rest assured. It's just a flat out war story. I think you're going to enjoy it. I loved it. You know what? I even saw it twice. I've seen this movie 2 times. That's like 6 hours of movies I watched. I watched it twice. It was really good. Go watch it. Everybody does a good job. And then I watched the new Spider-Man movie. It's kind of fun watching Zendaya and Tom Holland sort of growing up into these roles. It's almost like watching a football team, like how it used to be. You'd watch the freshmen and they become stars, and now they're like leaders of the team once they become seniors. That's kind of how Zendaya and Tom Holland are in this series. They're knocking it out of the park. It's pretty good. So there's 2 good movies for you guys to watch. I recommend them both. One movie I do not recommend is a movie that's getting, for some reason, some good word of mouth online. But I will tell you, The Last House on Netflix is a complete piece of shit. Do not watch this movie. It does not make sense. It's as corny as hell. Please don't watch it. You will just waste 2 hours of your life. And that is my parting shot, Tibbs.
Fresh out of the desert from Sin City.
Yes.
And it was very appropriately named, with it being hot as hell.
Spicy.
115 with a 10 to 15 mile an hour wind was basically like shoving your head in an oven with a hairdryer blowing on you. It was miserable.
But it was a dry heat, right?
It was very much a dry heat, and I don't like it.
Okay. I don't blame you.
Going out there, though, for a good conference, always an amazing time. Just weirdness always on the Vegas Strip. Jeremy, it's better to people watch than to go gambling, although you could gamble on what the hell did I just see or what am I going to see next.
Yeah, I've been there. I know what you're talking about.
I don't know where I'm going with it. It's late. Just know it was hot. There were a lot of weird things happening on the Strip, and I'm glad that I don't have to see that again for hopefully another year.
Well, listen, I will tell you something, though, Tibbs. Like, I go to a lot of places. I've been to a lot of cities in my life, and I found something about every city I've been to that I thought, wow, I'd like to live here. You know, whether it's Boston, or if it's Prague, or if it's London, or if it's Tampa Bay. You know, any city, I find something. But Vegas, I just don't feel like I belong there at all, Tibbs. I could not find anything that I felt like, yeah, this could be my town.
Is it bad when my highlight was eating some Raisin Canes in the midnight hour?
Yeah, it's a little sad.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.